Hey, what is going on, guys? This is Jason with Jadren Aquatics. Thanks for hanging out with me in the fish room again today. So I want you guys to know I had an absolutely amazing video that I was working on for you guys. Went out and found a bunch of hardscape. There's this place outside of Austin that's got just these granite outcroppings all over the place in this river. Had an amazing time, but guess what? For over half the time I was out there, I didn't even have my GoPro on. So the important parts that I was filming to show you guys never got turned on. So a bit of a rookie mistake there. So that video will never be seen because that video was never filmed. So we're back with the Selling Fish for Profit series. So again, we are in the process of converting about 300 square foot of space up at my print shop. You guys may have seen a picture that I posted. I finally got that whole area cleaned out, which was a lot of work in itself. So I've actually started building the walls. So what we need to do now is we got to make a determination of what type of tanks we're going to use and what types of stands we're going to use. So let's go around and let's look at some different setups so you guys can kind of understand the reason that I've chosen the way that I have chosen to go. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about tank size. It's really down between 20-gallon longs or 20-gallon highs. That's going to be the majority of the tanks that I'm going to use. You guys may ask, why aren't you using any 40 gallons or 55? Well, for the main reason is I'm not going to be carrying any big fish. So all the fish I'll be carrying will all be ones that will be able to fit in a 20 gallon. So I got to make a determination which one that I want to use. As you look in this picture right here, these are 20-gallon longs. 20-gallon longs are absolutely fantastic when you use them so that they are, running this way instead of turning them the other way. So you get a lot of area that you can see. It gives the fish, especially like guppies, the ability to swim all over the tank. It gives them kind of more room to swim around in. Let me tell you why I am ruling out using the 20-gallon longs. So the reason that I'm ruling out the 20-gallon longs is because I want to be able to turn all of my tanks sideways like this. That way I can get the most tanks that I possibly can in there. Right now with 20-gallon highs, I think I'll have the ability to get over 100 of them in there if I so choose. I'm not going to immediately set it up like that. I'm probably only going to set up maybe 3 or 4 racks at first, and then we'll just kind of see how it goes. Because right now I'm not even 100% sure what I'm doing, 100% sure what I'm carrying, so I'm kind of just playing it by ear. The other reason that I'm not going to use 20-gallon longs is because when you do turn them this way, it is an absolute nightmare catching fish. Because if you look back here, if you can see, these tanks are so deep that it's almost impossible to get your net back into the very back there and catch the fish. It's no fun whatsoever. And so again, I have to look at the idea of setting up that fish room as I'm going to be selling from that fish room. So I need to have these stuff where it is easily accessible, easy to catch the fish, and it's not a nightmare trying to catch them. So that's why we have decided to go with the 20-gallon long. So let's take a look at the 20-gallon longs, the way they look sideways. All right, so right here we got, these are all 3 20-gallon highs, and they're setting sideways. This is the configuration that I want to use. It still gives us the 20 gallons of water, which gives us a big space of water. I'm not a fan of using tins, just because things can go south in a hurry on tins. We'll talk a little bit about later on when we start talking about what we're going to be doing for filtration. Are we going to use sponge filters? Are we going to use some type of sump setup? But for now, we're just going to talk about, the way that we're going to set these things up. And so again, with them being these 20-gallon highs, the back isn't too far back, so it's real easy to reach in there and catch any fish from the back and be able to catch everything that you need without some big fight. So that being said, the majority of the tanks that are going to be in there, probably 90-something% of them, are all going to be 20-gallon highs. So that means I've got to start buying these things up. Part of the problem that I'm having right now is the Petco sale actually ended on Sunday. And so I kind of decided this a little bit late, so I was only able to pick up about 12 of them, I think, so far. Pet Supply has theirs also right now for $1 a gallon, but each store never carries more than one. So it's going to take me a while to round these up. I've got another guy, one of my subscribers that's actually out in kind of the Temple, Texas area. He's supposed to have a bunch of 20-gallon talls that he's barely even used, so I'm going to pick up those from him also. So I got to continue to be out on the lookout for them. So now we need to make a determination on what in the world are we going to do about building stands. So let's talk about that a little bit. Okay, so our first choice of action is, do we want to use the cinder block method? Well, that's a resounding no, because the cinder block method is very easy to set up, it's very cheap to set up, but it wastes so much space. The width of these cinder blocks just on both sides take up so much space. And then if you've got your 2x4s that are running too far and you need some type of stability in the middle, you've got to put another set of cinder blocks in the middle to give it the stability it takes, and now it's taking up even more room. So cinder blocks are absolutely not going to happen. So next choice, do we actually build stands or do we actually buy stands? The majority of my fish room is stands built. The reason that I have built them is because you get to build them the exact size you want so that you don't have a lot of wasted space. So if you look at all these ones that I have my 40-gallon ones on, you'll see they fit just absolutely perfectly. There's no wasted space in them. But right now with the cost of lumber is way up. I've actually noticed that it's gone down. A couple of months ago, to buy a 2x4 by 96 was about $7, but right now it's back down to about $4.54. So it's more affordable. So you got to think to yourself, the cost it's going to take to buy a stand or what it's going to cost to build it, and then the amount of time that it takes. Because if I've got to build that many stands, it's going to take a long time. So let's talk about actually buying a stand that is already made. Okay, so this rack system that I have over here, these are all metal stands. As you can see here in the middle, we've got these metal pieces. We've got the metal that go sideways. And these are an Edsel brand stand, and these have worked very, very well. As you can see on this system, you can get 6 tins on it. Now, again, I don't want to have wasted space, so if I was going to put 10 gallons, I would never use these. And the reason being is, let me show you. The 10 gallons are short. So the front of the tank doesn't go all the way to the edge. So you lose about 4 or 5 inches. That's just basically wasted space. But since I'm using 20-gallon highs, these are going to work perfectly. So a 20-gallon high is 24 inches long, and guess what? These stands are exactly 24 inches long, so we don't have any wasted space from front to back. And the length of these stands is 77 inches, so that means from here all the way to this edge is 77 inches. But if you notice, that's not 77 inches of usable space, because your usable space is from the inside there to the inside here. Well, this usable space is exactly 72 inches or 6 feet. So I'm thinking to myself, that's going to work out great, because the 20 gallons, when you look at the size of them, it says that they are 12 inches wide. So that means I'd be able to get perfectly 6 of them in here. So, and I would do it stacked in 3s like these are. Well, really more like, because a 20-gallon high is the same height as these 40-gallon breeders. So that means the shelf level right here, because these are adjustable, is going to be at the exact same height as these 40-gallon breeders are. So you would just imagine 20s in there instead of the 40s. So you can picture exactly what it's going to look like when I have it all set up in there. And in fact, I may actually drop this one down one more notch, because that'll still give me the room that I need to have overflows in there, and it still be able to reach the pipe and the drain pipe that's in the back. Here's the problem. When it says that the 20-gallon talls are 12 inches, that when it says 12 inches, that's the distance between this edge of the glass and this edge of the glass. But it doesn't take in consideration the plastic molding stuff that's at the top. And as you can see, this stuff sticks out about 1/8 of an inch on both sides, which adds almost another 1/4 of an inch to how wide it is. So what that means is now we can only get 5 20-gallon highs on there instead. So what I did is I did the math, because what I wanted to do is I want to understand what is the cost per tank to be able to put it on the different stands. And so when you figure out building a stand, you don't want to build a stand that's 72 inches long, because you're going to have to put some type of support or something in the middle, because the 2x4s are going to seriously sag, because that's just going to be too much weight. So if you have 6 20-gallon highs up there, that's 120 gallons, which is 8 pounds per gallon, so that's 960 pounds that's up there. And so there's no way that 2x4 is going to be able to handle that. So when you build the stands, you would have to build the stands so that they would only hold 3 tanks instead of 6. So basically what that comes down to, when you figure out the cost to actually build the stands per tank, that actually comes out to be almost the same price as what it costs to buy these stands per tank. And it's just a little bit cheaper to do it by wood. But the amount of time that it takes to actually build the stand, whereas the time it takes to buy this and put this together, is just absolutely ridiculous how much time you're going to spend building all those. So that means I have decided that I'm actually going to buy these exact same tank racks again. I'm going to use these exact same ones, because in the long run it's just going to be cheaper overall. Thanks so much for each and every one of you guys. Really appreciate you. You guys are absolutely awesome. If you guys got any other suggestions for me, any ideas that you think I should be taking into consideration, be sure and leave those down below. You got any other questions or comments, leave those down below also. So thanks again, guys, and God bless.